Man, that's crazy. You in there with blood.
Lil Durk, the man millions call the Voice, now finds himself silenced behind cold concrete walls. But silence doesn't mean peace. In fact, just 2 minutes ago, explosive news shook the hip-hop world to its core.
I said, I know you're a rich ass nigga, but if you need anything, you know I got you.
According to multiple insider reports, Lil Durk has been attacked in prison. And the most shocking part? The alleged attackers have connections to Lil Baby's inner circle. That's right. Someone who once stood beside him on stage may now be standing behind. Him in the shadows, pulling the strings. This isn't just a story of crime. It's a story of betrayal, survival, and the crumbling empire of one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. Everything changed the moment Durk was transferred out of Miami's notorious federal jail in the dead of night. His destination? A California maximum security facility built to house some of the country's most violent inmates. Officials claimed it was for his safety, but in reality, it was a desperate move after an alleged attempt on Durk's life inside the prison walls. Sources from within the prison system described the moment like something out of a movie. Tensions had been building, whispers of trouble, gang-related politics. And then chaos, a scuffle, blood, inmates yelling, guards rushing in. And at the center of it all, Durk, shaken but alive. Immediately after the attack, corrections officers placed him in protective custody. But even that decision backfired. Just days later, a jailhouse phone call between Durk and a friend surfaced online. In the clip, Durk downplayed everything, insisting he was on the main line and not hiding. To his fans, this was a show of strength. But to prosecutors, it may have been a colossal mistake. In that same call, a brief and controversial line raised alarms.
Yeah, downstairs they be like, man, send me upstairs. Whatever it is, I gotta tap you.
We never moved the money again after that first time. The problem? Durk is under federal indictment for funding a murder-for-hire plot. Every word he says is being analyzed, and that single sentence could be seen as an unintentional confession. The FBI has been building this case for months, possibly years. Agents allege that Durk used his position as the leader of Only the Family, OTF, to direct a complex plan to assassinate a rival. The plot involved private jets, ghost phone lines, hidden payments, and, most disturbingly, a group of 5 alleged hitmen tied to Durk's inner circle.
I said, I know you're a rich ass nigga, but if you need anything, you know I got you.
They claim Durk himself flew to California with one of the shooters, who then purchased ski masks and booked hotel rooms using a credit card in Durk's name. That level of detail has prosecutors confident, and Durk's team scrambling. But the case took a dark turn when the FBI revealed they'd been working with an informant from inside OTF. Fans quickly pointed fingers at Jam, an associate seen in a now-viral video sitting in an interrogation room, casually eating McDonald's. The scene sparked memes and outrage. He folded for a Big Mac, one user joked. Another called it the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. And yet, that might not even be the most shocking betrayal. Just as fans tried to digest the implications of the snitch, new reports emerged suggesting that the prison attack on Durk was connected to Lil Baby's camp. While there's no direct link to Lil Baby himself, insiders claim that several inmates tied to his entourage are responsible for orchestrating or carrying out the assault. If true, this would mark the official collapse of one of rap's most powerful alliances. Remember, Durk and Lil Baby weren't just collaborators, they were brothers. In 2021, they dropped The Voice of the Heroes, an album that became an anthem for loyalty and brotherhood.
Man, that's crazy. You in there with blood.
On stage, they stood side by side. But somewhere between the spotlight and the streets, everything fell apart. It started subtly. A missing feature, a canceled appearance. Then came the public distance. And, finally, silence. Fans speculated, but now it seems that silence may have been hiding a cold war between two titans of the industry. Meanwhile, Durk's legal troubles are piling up. On November 15th, he appeared in court and pleaded not guilty to every charge, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire, use of a firearm in a violent crime, and leadership of a criminal enterprise. Prosecutors argue that Durk ran his crew like a mafia don, giving orders behind the scenes while maintaining a clean public image. In court documents, the FBI quoted his lyrics, pointing to bars they claim revealed details of the murder plot. One line from his 2022 song even appears to reference the exact shooting prosecutors say he planned. The stakes couldn't be higher. If convicted, Lil Durk faces life in federal prison, with no possibility of parole. And while all this unfolds, Durk is fighting not just the feds, but ghosts from his past. Just weeks before his arrest, Durk made headlines by announcing he had officially embraced Islam. "Don't label me nothing but a man, a father, and a Muslim," he posted. He vowed to leave violence behind, to stop naming the dead in his lyrics, and to bring peace to Chicago, the city that made and nearly broke him.
Chicago rapper Lil Durk faces 3 new federal charges in connection to a deadly shooting in Los Angeles in August of 2022. The Grammy Award-winning rapper, whose legal name is Durk Banks, is charged along with 5 alleged co-conspirators in a murder-for-hire plot. Prosecutors say he masterminded a plot to kill Chicago rapper Quando Rondo at a Los Angeles gas station, but Rondo's cousin was killed instead. According to the FBI, the hit was in retaliation for the murder of another Chicago rapper, King Von, in 2020. Lil Durk remains in federal custody in Miami, where he was arrested last month.
But now, critics are asking, was it real? Or was it a calculated move to soften his image before the charges dropped? Supporters say he's being targeted because of his fame, that the government wants to make an example out of him, that Durka isn't just a rapper, he's a survivor, a voice for the voiceless, a man who made it out and is now being dragged back in by a system that never wanted him to succeed. But others argue the evidence speaks for itself, that Durk's past has caught up with him, that the street ties, the violent lyrics, and the whispers of revenge were more than just music. They were warnings. And now, the system is answering back. So now we ask, is Durk the victim of betrayal or the architect of his own downfall? Did Lil Baby's camp really turn on him? Or is this another twisted game of street politics and speculation? And most importantly, will the voice ever be heard again? Or is this the final verse in his legacy?
Grammy Award-winning Chicago rapper Lil Durk is facing new charges in a murder-for-hire plot.
I decided I had to finish, but the media called me a menace.
Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, is facing 2 additional felony charges, including conspiracy. He's accused of conspiring with others to murder a rival rapper in Los Angeles in 2022, but the shooters missed their intended target and killed someone else. 5 other people are also facing charges, 4 of whom are from the Chicago area.
As the legal battle intensifies, a different kind of war rages outside the courtroom, one that lives in comment sections, social media timelines, and city blocks across America. The public isn't just watching this case unfold, they're taking sides. The internet has turned into a digital battlefield. Hashtags clash like gang signs, fan theories spiral into conspiracy, and loyalty is being tested like never before. Bernice, one corner, you have those who believe this entire situation is part of a larger agenda. They point to systemic bias, media manipulation, and the history of powerful black men in America being torn down at their peak. To them, Lil Durk's rise was too fast, too raw, too loud, and now this trial is just another attempt to strip power from someone who made it out of the mud, but across from them stand voices of caution. Those who say that fame doesn't erase accountability.
Yeah, downstairs they be like, man, send me upstairs. Whatever it is, I gotta tap to.
They argue that behind the platinum records and sold-out shows was still a man making choices that invited darkness. They don't deny his talent, but they can't ignore the trail of violence, coded messages, and mounting evidence that's now being used to build the prosecution's case. As Durk sits in a cell, surrounded by legal teams and uncertain futures, one thing becomes clear. No matter the outcome, hip-hop will never be the same.
I said, I know you're a rich ass nigga, but if you need anything, you know I got you.
His trial has become a mirror for the genre, reflecting back decades of glorified street culture, blurred lines between art and reality, and the cost of staying true to a code that often leads to a casket or a cell. Meanwhile, whispers are growing louder about others who may soon be dragged into the spotlight. Names that haven't yet surfaced in court, but who could be implicated if more OTF members choose to cooperate? The fear? This case may be just the beginning, a domino that leads to an entire empire collapsing from the inside out. Behind the scenes, prosecutors are reportedly sifting through years of encrypted messages, financial records, and music lyrics. They're not just targeting the shooters, they want the generals, And if their narrative holds, Durk isn't just an artist caught in the crossfire. He's the one who lit the fuse. Back in the streets of Chicago, his name still echoes. Murals of King Von stand tall. Free Durk tees are being printed, in bulk, and cars ride through neighborhoods with his songs blasting like anthems of defiance. To many, Durk remains a symbol of survival. But to authorities, he's a symbol of something far more dangerous: influence. And that's what's truly at stake here, not just a man's freedom, but his reach. His ability to mobilize millions, to tell stories that pierce through politics and policy. That's the power of the voice. And that's why the world is watching so closely. But the countdown has begun. The trial date is approaching. Witnesses are being finalized. The prosecution is preparing to deliver a narrative that could bury Durk forever. And his defense? They're fighting to humanize him, to pull him out of the shadows the media has cast around him. In court, the stakes will not just be legal. Every moment, every look, every word, every lyric quoted will either confirm or destroy the myth that Durk has built around himself. The streets, the fans, the media, they'll all be watching. So as we wait for the verdict, one question remains louder than the rest. Will this be remembered as the day a legend was framed? Or the moment a king finally fell?